Nathan?
Yes, Blake?
Do you realise we've done the first month of Raw?
I know, it's incredible to think about that we've managed to muddle through that somehow, even though we started like halfway through a month anyway.
Only 323 to go, eh? This is going in Raw.
Why did you talk me into this? Are we jumping straight into this, or should we warn the people first that this is a fucking episode we've got for you?
Let's just pepper it in the afternoon. Do you know what I mean? So this
just
is the...
brace yourselves.
Yeah, for God's sake. This is the February the 1st, 1993 edition of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, and we're not getting any little comedy intro this time. No little like live action outdoors thing.
Well, I think the thing is, knowing the show that we're going to get later, if anything, I'm grateful we started on just... Let's not mess around, let's get straight into it.
Yeah, if anything, you'd think them just going straight into it with the title sequence. You think, okay, this is going to be a fairly normal, average episode. They're not trying to like lay any storylines down.
Here we go, we've hit our stride. Here's how we're going to present it from now on. Away we go.
Yeah.
I don't think have we spoken at length about the intro before? Because I just wanted to mention that.
Not a great deal. We just sort of said, oh, it looks very 90s. Isn't that fun?
There's like a dirty lick, and there's like, damn.
Oh yeah, it's so funky. It's got your distorted electric guitars. It's got your nice drum beat. It's got like a sexy horn in the middle.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's very 80s, which makes it probably the most on-point WWE have ever been.
10 years out.
Yeah, it's only what? It's 93, so it's 3 or 5 years out of date, isn't it? So
just a little bit.
That's pretty current for them. So yeah, no messing around, we just get started. So we're thinking, okay, we're going to be belting along quick.
Yeah.
The kind of lights come up, the show comes up, we're going straight in. And to the point we're going straight in where... Damien Demento is our first competitor who's already in the ring as the show starts.
Yeah, and we're getting the introduction of the his competitor.
Which is Tatanka, who is the Native American wrestler.
Yes, he is.
And yeah, like literally we are moving up.
Yeah, we're not even getting an introduction of the commentary team tonight.
I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes in, we had to pause it to quickly just scribble down who was in the commentary. So we're from the same place we were last time, the Manhattan Ballroom, I believe it's called. Mm-hmm. And we've got the commentary team of Vince McMahon, Macho Man's back, because he's not wrestling this week. And we've got Rob Bartlett again. Yeah,
still. Which, I mean, he wasn't that bad last week, so let's hope for better things today.
I reckon he gets usurped by someone on a phone later. Like, someone on a phone later says worse than Rob Bartlett normally does.
You know what? Like, because Rob Bartlett wasn't racist or, like, sexist or homophobic so much today, I'm okay with him.
I still would swap him in a heartbeat for Bobby Heenan.
Yes.
I'd swap him in a heartbeat for half of Bobby Heenan.
just gibbering on the floor.
Sewn to the half of a dog. That's what I'd have rather than Rob Bartlett.
You know what? I'd rather a dog.
I think they'd get on better, wouldn't they? Because tensions are showing as the afternoon progresses. It's getting a bit tense on the commentary desk.
Definitely.
People are getting sick of each other. But, okay, moving in the same vein as the TV show, let's just get cracking. So it's Damien Demento versus Tatanka. Damien Demento's already in the ring. Tatanka comes out. Rob Bartlett makes a really... Oh, Nathan.
Yeah?
Rob Bartlett, he makes a really funny joke.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. He says to Macho Man and Vince, he's like, hey guys, I reckon I used to have some of his trucks, talking about Tatanka, when he was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is the part where Macho Man says that he's deeply wounded by Rob Bartlett's jokes.
I think me and you felt the same.
But what's best is that Vince just completely ignores him.
No sells him. And the thing is, Macho Man got thrown out of the Rumble by Yokozuna, and it sounds like he's more offended by this. Like, this has upset him more. He was fighting over the ownership of his own hat last week, and he was mad then. He's pissed now. He's not messing.
Macho Man has had a rough month, all said and done.
He has. So literally, this match is it's nonsense.
It's nonsense, yeah, but it's decent.
Oh, you thought you liked this?
I liked this match.
Oh, okay. Well, I was quickly running you through what happened. So there's a quick roll-up to start us off. From Tatanka to Damien Demento, and I thought that was going to be it. I thought literally it's going to be 3 seconds, we're done.
Which, I mean, if this match came after all of the others that happened tonight, I would have thought exactly the same.
I'd have been happy with that at that point. At this point, I'm a bit disappointed. I want a bit more. So luckily, we're going to get a bit more. So they get back up again. Damien Demento thumbs Tatanka in the throat, much like Umaga in the corner. There's a big arm drag from Tatanka to Damien Demento, and then a power slam to follow it up as well.
Yeah.
So he's starting to get pumped. He's feeling it. Then Damien Demento slides out and he starts talking to his guardian angel.
Yeah, he just sort of starts praying, and Macho Man's like, "Oh, I love it."
He just starts talking to sort of whatever mad interdimensional demon runs his mind.
Oh, speaking of, like, wasn't Tatanka introduced as like from the edge of your dreams or something?
No, that's Damien Demento.
Demento, sorry,
Damien Demento is billed as being from the outer reaches of your mind.
Which is fun.
Which is somewhere young Cody Rhodes is going, oh, I love that. I'm going to have that for Stardust.
I'm taking this, Derek.
Nice. We can have that impression for the list that we can do. So he starts talking to whatever sort of mad demon controls his mind. There's an old school sort of corner offense. There's an Irish whip. There's some chops. They're trading clotheslines. Damien Demento starts to overpower Tatanka. He starts stomping on him. He kind of pings him off the ropes, gives him a back elbow, a la Judas effect from Chris Jericho. There's a near fall from Demento. Then he nearly gets the win over Tatanka. Then he stands up. He spreads Tatanka's legs and leg drops him in the bollocks. To which everyone was going, no, that's definitely the inside thigh. And it is, because you can see it quite clearly.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an illegal manoeuvre, but because the angle wasn't working with the move, they had to start saying it as, no, that's okay. There's another near fall. Damien Demento gets Tatanka in a reverse chinlock. So a lot of this is going around. Like, it's very much standard Monday Night Raw action.
Yeah.
This kind of era.
But, like, both wrestlers are coming across as very competent. Like, I think Tatanka especially makes himself look pretty damn good in this match.
And his intro music is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Once you get past the sort of
the Native American hollering sort of vocalizations,
vocalizations, and actually onto it, he's got dirty licks on his
tasty music he
has.
has.
It reminds me of the intro. You know the intro? Oh yeah, it's good, isn't it? So so he fights up. He gives him a couple of elbows. He sort of then there's a reversed Irish whip, and Tatanka comes off the ropes, and Damien Demento gives him a big gut kick, and sort of a few beat down punches. And then another thing I'm noticing that a lot of people do at this sort of time, they've been worked over for a little bit. They've been kind of beaten out. They've been beaten down. The face is kind of in a bit of a dire situation. It's kind of like modern day comeback sequences, like sort of where Cena start hitting his 5 moves of doom. Say modern day.
Yeah, sure.
5 years ago.
15 years ago.
Tatanka starts to hulk up. It's the only way I can describe it. He just starts like sort of shaking, and he's doing the blow in as well. And he's kind of like, and he starts doing this little kind of hop, skippy, hop, jump dance around the ring,
which was fun.
It's kind of cute. It's like you know when Nightwolf wins in Mortal Kombat, and he's like, "Ow!" like that. It's kind of not that camp, but you know what I mean. Like he's beating Shao Kahn or whatever, and he's had a lovely time of it.
He's had a bloody good Saturday, all said and done.
And he just starts skipping, doesn't he? He's loving it. So Tatanka wins. After his little dance.
Yep.
And he gets him with like a big Samoan drop. Like he goes deep. Like he managed to get. And Damien Demento is not a small guy.
No.
And he's wearing lots of ring attire. He's got quite like a big fluffy wrap around.
He wouldn't look out of place in like a Soul Calibur game, I don't think.
No, or like a sort of a goth rave.
Yeah.
you know the first Blade movie, and right at the beginning where like Blade goes into that place and it's like a goth rave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The showers, starts doing that glaive round. It wouldn't surprise me if when I go back and watch that movie, Damien Demento's in the background. Sort of talking to it like
talking to a god.
Yeah, talking to like the vampire god, like a big blood tornado with a face on it. I'm all over the place today. He gives me a Samoan drop. Tatanka wins.
Yeah, we've just come off the back of this Raw, so once we get to the end of it, you'll understand why we're a bit out of sorts.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit traumatised, to be honest.
I think this is the first time we've actually been drinking while recording one of this.
Well, I think, to be fair, we've needed it. We finished watching the show, and we were just sort of like, let's
crack open a couple of Stellas
and pour some cold ones out for the boys. It goes to the commentary desk. The first time we've seen the commentary desk this evening, and Macho Man is wearing.
He's looking fabulous today.
He's wearing a fetching lime green hat.
Beautiful, just covered in sequins all around it.
It's brilliant. So a nice pair of sunglasses, and he's wearing a Headlock for Hunger t-shirt,
which is just as shiny as the hat. Like, I reckon that he just got a normal Headlock for Hunger shirt. It's like, no need sequins.
Do you reckon the fact that he couldn't pay for his hat was because he was too busy putting sequins on everything he owns?
He bought $1 billion worth of sequins.
And that's why, like, the Repo Man's trying to get his hat back from him. I'm going to take one sequin at a time until you can pay back your debt. So we are getting... So Headlock for Hunger has happened.
That's the fucking thing they're thinking about it. Macho Man has a wide array of hats. Why does he give a shit about that one that doesn't even match the outfit, any other outfit that he was wearing apart from on that day?
It's the principle, Nathan. If you let Reaper Man take one of your hats, he's going to come back for the rest of your hats.
What was so expensive about that one hat that he couldn't pay it off, though?
He spent all his money buying the other hats. And he was like, I'm going to put this one on like part finance. Like you would an automobile.
I reckon he won it at an auction, but he bid way too much for it, was the problem.
Like someone had riled him up.
Yeah.
Like
what if it was Repo Man?
Yeah.
You see Vince Gaius on the writing desk.
Some guy was like, every time Macho Man put in a bid, he'd go the same amount and then won.
Yeah.
Like a young Bruce Wayne from Gotham. And Macho Man would be like, ooh, $2 million.
Yeah.
And then the guy would like $2 million and won. And then he'd be like, oh.
Sir, are you sure this hat was put up here for $5?
But all the money goes to Headlock for Hunger, Nathan, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, speaking of, we've got the Headlock for Hunger sort of the recap, I
Yeah,
guess.
so it's happened between last week's Raw and this week's Raw. And I must be honest, like, we've been taking the piss out of it a little bit.
Well, I mean, we've just been joking about, like, the way it was advertised. Like,
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a charity for a good cause.
Yeah, okay, so I think...
Feeding hungry people.
Yeah, they're doing a good thing, but I think we had a bit of a rib on the way it was presented. It was very 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a lovely time with the Undertaker spot from last week. But when we actually get down to it, it actually was quite a sincere and quite an emotional affair. Like, they managed to raise $100,000,
Yeah.
which nowadays seems like such a little amount of money.
Yeah, especially, like, considering how much Vince McMahon is worth. That's like a drop in the bucket, but...
It looks good though, doesn't it?
It does.
And still, I tell you what, look, it might be a little bit of money, but let's look at it this way. That's $100,000 they didn't have the day before.
No,
So
it's better than doing nothing.
But I mean, they get their money's worth out of this. Like on the commentary, they're like, "Oh, the emotions were running high." Not on Bret Hart's face, they weren't.
No.
Bret Hart looks stoic.
He gives what we can call an impassioned speech.
I mean, I think when he started to walk out to the ring, I was like, "This is going to be bullshit."
Is he going to headlock these like authorities from Somalia?
Because he looked moody.
Yeah.
And he was dressed like a sort of neon cowboy.
He looked like he has raided Macho Man's like cupboard.
But
Cupboard closet. He's not been going through his pastas.
But when he actually gets in there and he starts presenting the check to them, it's actually quite a nice speech. But what I mean is he definitely gets his money worth because every third word out of his mouth is World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
He says like, "Oh, on behalf of the World Wrestling Federation superstars, on behalf of the World Wrestling Federation staff, on behalf of the World Wrestling Federation's fans, on behalf of the lady that cleans out the World Wrestling Federation's fridge, on behalf of all
Thank
of
you,
us
Susan.
at the World Wrestling Federation." He says about like 9 times.
We present you this officially branded World Wrestling Federation check.
Because it's a big check.
It's a comedy check.
It's like what you win, like when you go on like the In It to Win It All, like a lottery
Yeah, like your
game
big,
show.
like your big comedy lottery ticket.
And I imagine like, because obviously we don't see the back of the check, so the front of the check's all filled in, like the American Red Cross and what have you. I imagine on the back it's like a big WF branding that they use like maybe
Just a big picture of Vince McMahon's face.
going like
Suck it, IRS.
So we're having fun. It's going.
So far, we are having fun.
I mean, famine's hilarious, isn't it? So we're having a great time.
Yep.
But they've done a good thing. It's going well.
They've tugged on the heartstrings by giving to some impoverished people in a foreign nation.
I'll tell you what, like the guys in the ring look genuinely grateful for the money as well, due to their charity, and it's a very above board affair. It looks official. It looked classy. It wasn't tacky.
No.
Like the one thing I was worried about was there was gonna be some sort of gimmick or angle.
Yeah.
That would play really badly now. Like they can't just do a normal charity donation. They've got to have like a run-in or something to get like.
Yeah, they're gonna have Hulk Hogan come in and like steel chair the poor guy who's taking the check.
Yeah, or like Razor Ramon would come in and nick the check and then spend it on more golden toothpicks.
I would have loved that.
Do you know what I mean? Like something tacky like that.
Listen here, Chico. I'm not doing the voice.
Yeah. And then like he looks in like a sort of poor, impoverished, famine kid's face and just throws his toothpick at him.
8.5 months.
That's how long you got left to live.
Oh, Razor Ramon, you dickhead.
So we go to an ad, and then when we come back, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yes, an interview was teased with him during the Demento versus Tatanka match.
Mm-hmm. So it's his sort of return to the show, the TV show. Mm-hmm. At this point, we don't know how long for, but we'll run through how long for and everything else in a minute.
Yeah,
We'll go through how it happened.
Yeah, we I assume that before going into this, you didn't have a great knowledge of the Beefcake.
No, not
No, neither did I. Like, this was pretty much the first time I heard of him. Thought, that's a funny name, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Because we were sort of joking around, like, oh, I don't understand what makes him a barber. Like, what's that all about?
No, like, he says he's a barber. He comes out with like hedge clippers.
So we come back from the break, and it's like now interview with Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and you're right. He comes out of the
It's Vince McMahon in the ring.
Area,
Yeah,
and he's quite high energy.
yeah, and let me tell you, he's snapping them hedge clippers dangerously close to reaching hands.
Like,
someone is
literally,
gonna lose a finger.
Like everyone's hands and fingers, and he's just going there like.
Yeah. And we think, this is going to be great. What a comedy character.
I was like, this is what I live for. This sort of stuff. Because if it's on purpose funny, it's going to be funny. If it's unintentionally funny, it's going to be funny.
And I had high hopes when he came into the ring because he got to the microphone. He was full of beans.
He started off really strong, really, really, really strong. And I was like, this is going to be grand. It's going to be like 2 or 3 minute interview. He's back to the ring. Big hype up for him and what's going to be happening with him going forward. And we're going to have a great time.
And I'm just going to say this. I think it was said during the Tatanka match, it was suggested that he was involved in some sort of boating accident.
Yes.
So
I think return after a parasailing.
Well, they clarify. I think Vince clarifies that it's a parasailing incident that happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we want to approach this story because
I stopped writing then and I let you start.
Okay, no, that's fair because. Obviously, when you say, boating incident or parasailing incident in kayfabe, like, you think, that's funny. That's an interesting way to have someone, like, take a couple of months off. No, this was...
I'm thinking Stone Cold Steve Austin gets ran over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or like, Vince McMahon's car gets blown up or something while he's inside it.
Or, like, sort of Sheamus falls over and hurts his arm and he's off for a few months and I was like, where's Sheamus?
The Big Show's... Oh, no, his parents had actually died, didn't they?
And then when Sheamus comes back, he's like, just help me out for a bit. And then Big Show's dead daddy. Like, I'm thinking this is going to be hilarious. Parasailing accidents are like a fertile ground for comedy.
But because that's a funny image. You say parasailing accident, you think, that's a bit amusing.
I was giggling like a schoolgirl.
No, I looked it up while this interview was going on. In 1990, he did genuinely have a very serious parasailing accident where he was assisting his friend take off in a parasail. And a miscommunication with the person who was driving the boat caused the feet of the parasailer to connect with Brutus's face so severely that it actually fractured his facial skeleton.
Now, we didn't know this at the time.
No.
How it works in the interview, he gives this, like, his starting bit, and he's pumped up. He's like, I'm coming back to the ring, I'm coming back, I'm going to do more wrestling. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, Brutus Beefcake, I remember him. He wrestled with Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan was a guy called
Teddy Boulder, Terry Boulder.
Brilliant, okay, amazing. And then Vince says to him, and like sort of something along the lines of, tell us more about your boating accident. Or it was quite a severe accident, was it not? And you can just see the demeanour of Brutus the Beefcake just change.
His energy just sort of drops. And this isn't really helped by the fact that clearly this interview is going on for quite some time. Like, we get like 3 minutes into it and like, I know that I was feeling kind of like, okay, this should wrap up soon because the audience is getting kind of leery. Like, they're not happy that this is going on and interrupting the wrestle times.
I think the thing is as well, I mean, obviously we didn't know the extent of the injuries or anything that he's going to say next before his energy changes. But as soon as his energy changes, you can feel it. Like, something me and you sort of shared a glance, like something's happened here, something's changed. Because his kind of shoulders almost slump, he starts sweating a bit more. And his eyes,
it looks like the nerves like really start to get to him.
So he starts talking about this accident, and he starts telling you about what's happened in this accident. And it kind of goes back from the accident in the timeline that he says before the accident.
Yeah, because before even the accident. Now, I've done a little bit of research and I can't see anything that backs it up necessarily. He claims that his mother died like even before the boating accident.
85 pounds.
His 85-pound mother died of cancer. The way he describes it,
like it's
haunting. It's the only way I can describe it.
He says, I laid my mother down, 85 pounds, riddled with cancer. He used the phrase riddled with cancer.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go about this as if it's some sort of story, though, because the way he describes it makes it sound very real. I just can't see anything that verifies it. And then his father dies of basically a broken heart. The way he said,
attack. He describes it as like half of grief, half of something else.
Yeah.
And then he says his wife's left him.
I can confirm that is actually true.
His wife or his dad?
His wife.
His wife.
Well, at least there's some sort of truth to that. From what I can gather, his wife left him sort of around that time, and he remarried later on. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, he sort of alludes to some adultery as well. He sort of says that she, ran off with all his money, and so he says even before the accident, I was down, I was out, I had to fight back against all of this.
Yeah, so this feels very genuine.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I guess wrestling fans are so used to the story and the flair and everything that they're starting to get a bit, we want you to punch a man. We want a man to punch you.
I'm sure at some point there's we want doink chance.
Which...
Like, he's going to inject some much needed comedy in this man's harrowing story.
Which, that is a fucking terrifying...
That's a damning indictment of the afternoon, isn't it?
I feel so bad for him.
And I mean, you can tell as well, because every time the sort of crowd, he'll say something, and for a little bit they're following him along, and it cuts to the audience a few times, and there is some people...
There's some, lads picking their nose.
No, but before that, there's some guys in the audience, and they look a bit concerned, and a bit sad, and a bit like, okay, let's see where this is going, because it's like a big tone change. He comes out all full of fire, pim and vinegar, and all of a sudden he starts banging on about his dead mum and his dead dad and his cheating wife.
Yeah.
And then he starts banging on about Parasailer's knees. And I'm kind of trying to get us to the point where we can start going up again by making fun of the Parasailer thing. And it sounds dodgy, but I think we can get some comedy out of that. But yeah, so he starts...
Oh, yeah, no, that was it. He said that his wife left him for a barfly specifically.
Barfly, yeah.
Which I don't know, what kind of insect matters, but, I'd be pretty upset.
So he starts saying...
Oh, he forgot to make the other joke.
What joke?
That he comes out with them hedge clippers and he looks like he's gone at his own outfit.
Yeah.
Because he's just all tassels and fishnets.
But that's what I mean. At the beginning of this, we're like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm sort of seeing in my head another Undertaker headlock for Hunger bit. Like, this is going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, it was all good until all that. And then he starts describing the accident and...
And, the hospital visit that he had.
Yeah, and he starts... Because the thing is, okay, I maintain that some bits of this are still funny.
Like the fact that Hulk Hogan was by his bedside day and night.
Yeah, but I'm not picturing Terry Bollea. I'm picturing Hulk Hogan.
You hang in there, brother.
With the gold training pants and the long gold blonde hair.
Like a nurse comes in to put a catheter in, he just elbow drops him.
Yeah.
Sorry, leg drops him.
It is sort of all those Hulkamaniacs. it's Macho Man again. But yeah, so that's what I'm imagining. But he starts describing the boating accident. And at this point, I've got bored. I've got bored like the crowd has. And I'm doing jokes now as well. It's like, and then a Parasailer's knees hit me. And Vince McMahon's like, you're coming back to the ring like you're going to wrestle again. And I said to Nathan, I was like, he's going to have a grudge match with the Parasailer. And he's like, I've got no weakness apart from Parasailer's knees. When I'm lying there on the hospital bed, my face was smashed to pieces. I couldn't see, I couldn't taste, but I could still hear. And I was like, yeah, you could hear because your ears were 4 feet apart from the rest of your head. This is where I'm coming from.
He's saying that, he had his eyes stitched shut. He had his jaw stitched shut.
He goes in depth.
And he had 9 plates of metal in his face. You were like, that's a disadvantage. That's a big advantage for him if he gets in the ring.
I mean, he still starts getting in your man from Judge Dredd when he gets stuck on headbutt mode.
Yeah.
We're going to know what's happening, aren't we? He gets a bolt through his nose and it's hard going. It's hard times. And on a fun wrestling show, I don't think this is the time for him. Obviously, it's therapy for him to come out and...
Yeah, sort of let me tell you my story, but...
Yeah, and we didn't know this at the time, but it gets revealed later to us that he's been gone for 3 years at this point.
Yeah.
So this is his first return after 3 years.
Yeah, because like we say, in... kayfabe when it comes to wrestle stories, if a wrestler needs to take a break or something, they'll feign some sort of injury and take a few months off and then come back after the holiday or whatever.
Well, if that's the surgery that they need.
Yeah, or they've taken some extra juice and hit the gym non-stop.
Yeah, or they're going through a bad divorce or just whatever, where they need to take a bit of time off to kind of get their head right and get themselves right again.
3 years is fucking serious.
I imagine basically what happened is he got the shit kicked out of him by Parasailer's knees. Because the thing is, obviously, it's described in the Wikipedia article as feet, but the fact that he keeps saying knees to me is just a funny...
He got a serious blow to the head. He probably can't remember. It's all right.
And he's saying, he goes really in depth. Like what you were saying about, he has his eyes stitched shut. He couldn't breathe on his own. And he said all the way along, he said, I had Hulk Hogan sitting by me. And he said, and the crowd, I started to get restless. Like you said, it keeps cutting to the crowd. And I pointed out to you, there was one bloke, and bloke in his 40s, just picking his nose. And then about 5 minutes later, because this interview goes on for about 10 minutes, 10, 11 minutes. 5 minutes later into this interview, as he's describing this harrowing, horrible recovery he's going through, cuts to the audience, there's a young lad picking his nose. And I'm like, they're just taking the piss. Because he says at one point, I can't smell anymore. They go, well, I can.
I can as soon as I get this chunk out of me.
And it's really graphic, like what he's talking about. And it's obviously a very serious, important thing. But he gets to a certain point in his story, and like, the crowd just turn on him. They just turn on him. And they're getting restless, they're getting bored, they start chanting things.
Yeah.
And he starts stumbling over his words.
But at the same time, like I can understand them getting bored. They came here to see wrestling. They're not seeing wrestling. It's just... Because I can see Brutus wanting to get... I keep calling him Brutus and it makes me want to laugh because this is not a story from a man called Brutus, is it?
You know what I mean?
But, like, yeah, it's good for him to get this story out. Maybe it was best to just get it in some sort of news interview or something.
Like, have a backstage promo where you can cut it down.
Yeah, definitely. Have him sit down with anyone.
There's a lot of downtime where he's taking a pause, taking a breath. He's just thinking about what he's going to say next. He's composed himself.
I've got to say, like, despite how nervous and anxious he looks to be on this stage and not being booed, but like being a bit heckled, like he keeps his composure. He very rarely stumbles over his words.
When he gets to the end, when he's talking about Hulk Hogan, he says, and Hulk Hogan gave me the question the answer to the question.
Yeah, that's like the worst he does, but that's like just, I mean, I would do that in normal conversation.
But the thing is, like, as soon as he stumbles on that, the sweat coming down the left and right side of his face like, intensifies.
I feel like this was more of a harrowing experience than the 3 years in hospital.
Yeah, I feel like...
I've got to say, I don't think he was in hospital for 3 years.
I feel
He had his recovery, he just needed a long time to recover before going back into having his face punched a lot.
I feel like I've been hit by Parasailor's knees after the end of this. So that's haunting and horrible.
Yeah, it only gets better from here.
And I mean, I do feel sorry for the guy. And also, I know I'm making jokes and stuff. The guy's still alive. He's doing well now. He's healthy. He's happy.
Yeah, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. So
I'm sure he can look back on it now and sort of be like, that is a funny thing.
It was a down point in my career, but hey, I'm still kicking. I'm still happy.
We go down to a WrestleMania ad.
Oh yeah, I didn't write anything about this. You can go ahead.
The only thing I've written in addition to last week when we had the same WrestleMania ad, Scarface music. It sounds very 80s.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. We come back and the women, I think in response to the crowd turning, the women are getting more and more scantily clad, Nathan.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, no, I agree. Like, this doesn't look so much like sexy swimsuits. It does, like, someone turned up to do it and they said, "Oh, I thought you were supplying me with a swimsuit. Just take off your shirt and trousers, go out there in your bra and panties, you're fine."
And this is the most conservative scanty clad women of the night. They get worse later.
I don't know. Like, I know who you're talking about, and cool.
We move swiftly on to our next match, which is the tag team of High Energy, which is Owen Hart and Coco Beware.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, here we go. Versus Iron Mike Sharp and Vito.
Don't even get a team name.
No, and they don't even get an entrance. They start off in the ring.
Yeah.
High Energy come out. And this match, I looked on Wikipedia, is 1 minute and 31 seconds long.
So we're not going to have much to talk about here, I'm afraid.
So there's a lock-up from Owen and Iron Mike. There's some sort of dancing around, hot dogging from Iron Mike.
Immediately, Iron Mike is such a grunty little bear.
He's good, right? I like
Just
him.
all the time.
So there's a shoulder block from IMS, who I now realise is Iron Mike Sharp.
Not Owen M. Shyster.
This is pretty cool. I can do this now in real life. Owen Hart kips up.
Yes.
Yes, that's cool. And then he follows it with a beautiful dropkick. Like, just a really nice, gentle tagging of his feet against Iron Mike Sharp, which looks devastating. Yeah. But the way his legs are bent is literally like a love tap on
Owen Hart looks incredible in this match.
He's got great trousers.
He
and
does.
Suspenders. He looks amazing. Like braces, I mean. Like, he looks amazing.
Yeah. He's got like the checkered like scar patterns like what Coco Beware has.
Yeah, so they do have some synergy as a tag team too.
Yeah.
Which I think is brilliant. There's a drop toe hold from Owen to Iron Mike Sharp, who he kind of turns that into an armbar. They kind of wrestle back to their feet. Owen tags in Coco. There's a bit of team offense in the corner. They put him in the corner, give him a few punches on the left and the right. They kind of roll him onto his back. Then they kind of grab a leg each, standing on his left and right side, and pull his legs apart. Sort of like sort of to make it really, really hurt. Mm-hmm. Iron Mike Sharp scuttles to the corner and tags in Vito. This is moving like a breakneck speed.
Yeah.
We can both agree their tag team name of High Energy is very apt.
Yes, because like we had to pause this one a couple of times just to make sure we can write it down.
I had that 23-minute Ric Flair match to call last week, and I didn't pause it once.
No.
Because I could just follow the action along really nicely, but there's so much I wanted to write down to make sure I didn't misrepresent or miss that we had to stop a few times.
Yeah.
So he tags in Vito, Coco and Owen like then do tag team offense on Vito. So basically tags him into like a whirlwind of punches.
Yeah.
They get him in the corner. Owen kind of gets Vito onto his shoulders in an electric chair drop position. Coco beware. Vito should have been Coco beware of his drop kick from the top rope.
Do you want me to laugh at that one?
Nah, you're fine.
Okay.
Owen rolls through. So as Vito falls down, Owen kind of rolls on top of him, holds the legs, High Energy win.
Yeah, and that drop kick from Coco Beware looks so good.
It was like everything they did was really neat and snappy.
Yeah.
I mean, Iron Mike and Vito were a bit. They're just like the bruisers for the evening.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen them before. I don't think I'll ever see them again.
I've heard of Iron Mike Sharp somewhere, so he must be
Are you sure you're not thinking of Iron Mike Tyson?
Maybe. I'm probably getting him confused with Iron Mike Tyson and the Iron Sheik. They have a lot of Iron Men.
They don't have Iron Man though.
Shark. Shame though.
Saying that. There's a recap of Crush getting jumped by Doink the Clown.
Yeah, and for some reason they highlighted Doink the Clown as if you couldn't tell which one was the clown.
It's good. It's a different angle from the first beatdown we got.
But you still get the woman who looks so shocked to see a clown rip his own arm off.
And it's great because this is in slow-mo.
Yeah.
So you can see the exact second when she sees it. And she's like... It's brilliant. I want to know how that woman reacts to like things like Saw. And
I want to know what she's up to now.
Probably overreacting to very normal everyday things. Like a clown ripping his arm off. I don't know what I mean by normal everyday things.
If you're listening to the podcast, let us know.
But yeah, like it's great because
that goes out to anyone, by the way, not just the woman.
Because when you get the recap, it's like face on now rather than from the side, so you can see Crush there in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
And then behind him,
With his little tubby belly.
just cheekily poking out is Doink the Clown, and like you say, they've darkened the image and upped the brightness on Doink the Clown with a little circle, like you'd see on like Crime Watch.
Yeah. Have you seen this clown? Yeah.
And you can see him like slowly get the arm out in slow mo and hit him with it.
And this is like old style slow-mo, so you're seeing like 2 frames a second.
Yeah, it's really, really, really like jaunty.
Too slow.
It's bad. And then we go into Doink versus Typhoon, the much hyped and much anticipated. And
Yeah,
by
this was the title match listed like at the end of the last episode.
Nathan, I'm gonna say now, the Going in Raw podcast. I reckon we were all excited, the whole Going in Raw family, for the Doink versus Typhoon match this week.
I'm not going to spoil it too much, but this match is fucking shit.
I'm gonna tell you, I've been waking up every morning thinking, one more day, and I get
Fucking
to watch
awful, this
Doink
match.
versus Typhoon. I've not been able to sleep. You know when you're like a kid at Christmas and you keep waking up so you can hear Santa? I keep waking up to see if I can hear and whatever the fuck.
You go downstairs, go underneath the clown tree, open up your present, and it's full of Typhoon's sweaty boxers.
And like dismembered arms.
Yeah.
Full of lead.
Also, can I ask, why is Typhoon fighting Doink in the place of Crush? That's it. I was going to call him Cyclone. Is Typhoon like a friend of Crush or something? Is that established? Because it's like it builds up as if like this match is happening because of the Doink Crush situation.
Oh, I didn't take it to mean that. I took it to mean he's already taken out Crush. Can he take out Cyclone? Is he more dangerous than we think? And I think they're keeping that Crush thing on the back burner to then when Crush gets back, they can have a bigger match later on. Because I'm just assuming, like, we've not seen Doink wrestle yet. He's been in
Not
it all the way.
properly.
He's been in it all the way along. He was in the first episode,
Yeah.
the second and the third, and now this week. So I'm presuming it's sort of like we're trying to build Doink the Clown. He's taken out one guy. Let's get him in a legitimate match tonight against Typhoon. But I mean, Typhoon could use some knock around with Crush. It could have been like a tag team or whatever. I'm honestly not sure. But
No, it just feels. Sorry, it just felt weird to me, like the way that it was been talked about for the last couple of weeks. This whole assault on Crush, and then like the match with Typhoon. I figured that Typhoon was somehow trying to take revenge on Crush.
For Crush.
On behalf of him. Yeah, that's where I thought the angle was going. But yeah, if they're really like seriously trying to push Doink as a serious heavy hitter, though, this is sadder than I thought it was.
It's all I'm saying to you, Nathan, it was the big title match draw from last week. Like last week they were giving...
And last week I was I can't believe they've done this. because this cannot be good.
And this week, our fears and suspicions were confirmed.
Yeah. So did you want to?
Yeah, shall we get into it? So
I mean, I can't remember why I wrote this, but all I know is that I've written Macho Man loves it from behind. That was it. No, because Doink attacks Crush from behind, and Macho Man's like, "Ooh, I look like from behind."
Oh, and can we just point out he's proper putting that.
Macho Man is being extra macho today.
Because it'd be like normally, okay, he has the same voice. Don't get me wrong. You can tell we're trying to avoid talking about this shit match.
It's so
We're talking
bad.
about Macho Man's voice. Normally he has that kind of, ooh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But this week he
Ripped to a Slim Jim. Yeah.
he started extending it into every other third word. So he'll say a sentence and halfway through, that third word in the middle will be like, and it'll kind of go on to like a growl at the end. And it's a lot more than it's been the last week or the week before. I'm sure of it. I'm sure he's putting.
I don't know. Maybe he's just like on something today. I mean, at the height of his career, he was doing that through all of his promos. Like, ooh, nothing means nothing.
Yeah.
Like he was always doing that. So maybe it's just like he calmed down for a while, but today he was like, no, I'm really amping myself up for this because it's Doink the Clown, Blake. I've got to get excited for Doink the Clown. Jesus fucking Christ. Get on with it.
So Doink comes out, then he goes evil.
Yeah, it turns into like the Undertaker's theme all of a sudden.
I didn't, because I'm sure this hasn't happened before.
I've never heard of it. I've never heard his theme apart from like a recent. Like I think it was like during the Attitude Era.
Oh, he's in the Give It Battle Royale.
Yeah, that was it.
WrestleMania 17. Yeah. I think Typhoon might be there as well.
He might have
They might have been settling a grudge match from 7
Did we
years ago.
spoil this for ourselves?
Oh my god. Typhoon comes out. He looks like Tim Allen's mate from Home Improvement.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The fat guy that wears the plaid. Yeah, it looks like him.
but even bigger. Like this guy looks large, but he does still look strong.
He looks odd.
Yeah, like I mean, we're not gonna like body shame
Well, no,
anyone
of course not.
who's in the Wrestling Federation because all types can make it in that industry.
And the thing is, like, all of them kind of have different archetypes and all of them have different styles of wrestling.
And you know,
let's be
like-
honest, all of them can kick the shit out of me and you.
Oh yeah,
All of them.
Doink the Clown could kick the shit out of me and you.
It depends. Is he armed with a lead arm?
Yes,
Okay,
always.
Definitely.
And yeah, but you know, he's a big fella. He's billed as being like 400 pounds heavy or something, which I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
He's a tall man.
he's
as well.
he's tall,
too.
he's big. Hey, if he can fight, he can fight. He can't fight.
Yeah.
But let's get into.
The thing is, if you're big, you're large, but you can do the job that you are there to do.
Yeah.
You can wrestle, then fair enough. But this man, I heard this term a while ago, he's a frail whale. He's a big man, but he can't move. Like, he can't do anything. Like, like, we start off and Doink starts chaining Typhoon. Doink does 90% of the work here. He starts like kind of getting him an arm
Which
lock.
is a shock.
Yeah, he starts even kind of getting him in like German suplex positions and swapping round from back to front. He's kind of like rolling his arms. He kind of takes him down to the ground. There's a lot of this kind of Doink slipping and sliding all over him. Typhoon throwing him off. They both stand up and repeat.
I was just checking. Sorry, Typhoon is still alive.
Okay, good. Well, I don't feel bad now for making so much fun of him. Has he got Twitter?
I don't know. Okay, let me double check.
Can we abuse him on Twitter later? Like seeing your shit match from 1993 where's a Doink
Can you
Clown
apologise, please?
to me and the rest of the Going In Raw podcast. There's a lot of getting wrestled down.
Oh. No, he doesn't. But apparently, there's a recent article saying that there are fears for his health. But that was like 2 years ago,
Oh.
and he's still alive, so
There
he's
we go
fine.
Then.
He's all right. Bless
Go
him.
Then. We'll find out
If
tomorrow.
this, I was gonna say, if this happens again, like it did with Kamala, where we start insulting a man and then, like the next day, he dies.
I'm gonna start thinking we're cursed. Or we've got some sort of like Death Note power. Like we talk about them on the podcast.
Delete.
Yeah, and then next week they die.
If you heard a bit before this where it's me like very solemnly saying, "Hey guys, we say some nasty stuff about Typhoon and he died before we put the
jinx
episode
it.
out." I'm just saying.
So there's a lot of wrestling down. Typhoon gets back up. We start again. Doink the Clown gets him in like a chicken wing. His arm behind his back on the ground.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, chicken wing. Chicken
Okay.
wing. It's like an arm lock thing. At least that's what I call it anyway. And then he kind of gives him an elbow drop. And this is what I mean. So Doink's kind of bumping his ass off. He's getting up. He's going down. Typhoon has probably 4 or 5 moves.
Does he? I didn't see any of
That
them.
aren't just push and then Doink falls over.
Yeah.
Typhoon, he lifts Doink up and then just puts him back down again. It's supposed to look like a big, like he's picked up, stepped away and Doink's fallen.
Yeah, like you see a lot of like God, you see some smaller people do the same move, and it looks so good.
I'm sure Braun Strowman's done it tons of times, so you must know what I'm talking about at home. There's a section where Doink gets him in a sleeper hold, a standing sleeper hold. So this is quite cool. Typhoon lifts him onto his back while breaking the hold, and then like kind of, I don't want to say runs, kind of falls backwards into the turnbuckle and squashes Doink. And I was really hoping like he'd get squashed and then like all this confetti and fireworks and cake and streamers would start coming out of his body.
Just like custard pie filling just falls out of his pockets.
Yeah, like he's filled with a manner of japes and tricks and like physically filled with them.
Like some sort of PG It.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Doink scares me more than It. We'll get into that in a minute. Doink comes off the ropes and Typhoon catches him into a bear hug. He gives him a power slam.
Is that what you'd call it? He did not look like he was squeezing him at all.
No. I think it was just enough effort to kind of keep himself upright for the next 4 to 5 seconds that he has him locked in this hold. He Irish whips Doink into the corner. It's kind of bad because I've got more notes here than I have from the Owen Hart and Coco.
To be fair, like more does actually happen. It's just not very good.
Typhoon follows him in. He tries to run in and squash him in the corner. Doink slips out.
There is one point where that lands though. Like I don't know whether that happened before, and it looked painful.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because of Typhoon's weight, but he does come in with some force at that point.
Like custard cream starts coming out of his eyes. Doink flies. He comes to the top rope and he tries to hit like a shoulder block or a falling clothesline or something. Typhoon sort of gets hit, takes a step back, remembers he's supposed to fall over, and then falls over. It's really piss poor. And then, so Doink, he kind of straddles him.
Yeah, he sort of like sits on his stomach.
Yeah, but Typhoon's laying on the ground with his feet facing the hard camera.
Yeah.
Doink steps over, so he's facing the hard camera, so his bum is facing towards Typhoon's head.
Yeah.
And then he tries to kind of hook Typhoon's legs up into a pin. And
but he tries to grab like the bottom rings of like the unitard that's around his ass.
Yeah, he doesn't go for knees. He kind of goes for like the top part of your thighs.
And there's a lot of like Typhoon to grab, but he just can't get hold of him. So Typhoon just sort of lifts his legs up for him.
Oh, like barely.
Yeah, and like the ref just says "fuck it" and counts it.
And that's it. I expected, honestly, he could have reached down and grabbed the bollock in each hand and lifted him. We would have got a better pin out of that than going for the thighs. They try and make out that Doink was grabbing the tights with illegal leverage.
Yeah.
But I think that's just his arse crack coming out, like it would on a man that size anyway.
And I gotta say, Doink's costume was constantly swimming up the dark valley. Like the moment he took his coat off, it was just up there, like it was sealed onto him.
He's vacuumed.
Yeah.
So talking a bit about Doink's like attire, we've only ever seen him with that red ringmaster's coat on, with like the sort of singlet underneath, and the singlet is branded to look like a clown outfit.
Yeah.
But it's like a wrestling singlet. And I get what you mean. Like every time we cut to an angle where you were behind Doink the clown, I've never found clowns funny. But that's the least I found clowns funny. I got more chuckles out of that time the Joker blew up a hospital than I did out of looking at that.
That was a funny scene, though.
It was funny, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, then Doink climbs out the ring, grabs his coat, and he just sort of leans against the corner post for a while, looking so melancholy.
Yeah, he lingers, and it's kind of like the angle's on like the left side of his face.
And he just looks haunted, like he has just watched a hospital full of kids be blown up.
And he's looking forwards as well. Like he's not looking at the camera, he's looking past the camera, up the aisleway, and then he just sort of just a little smile.
Yeah, we get he's supposed to be a heel, but like he's just won.
I think that the point where he smiles, is just where the evil part of his theme starts.
Yeah,
they're trying to put him in sort of like mad dichotomy. Like I'm like they're actually going to be putting this thought into an evil clown character. Really, I mean, come on. So that was fun. Not.
Yeah, and then things only get cheerier.
There's an ad, and it comes back, and it fades back in, but there's like probably a split second or two of audio that don't fade in with the picture. Did you catch this as well? So when it comes
yes, this is where Vince McMahon is talking to
Tom Pettengill.
Yeah.
So when he comes back in, his mouth's moving, but you don't hear any audio.
Which is fine. We don't need to listen to what he's saying anyway. They're just talking about that. Is it Friday morning, like show or whatever?
Oh yeah, there's like a show that Tom Pettengill presents or something, and they're going to have Giant Gonzalez on, who was debuted during the Royal Rumble. He wasn't wrestling, but he appeared during the Royal Rumble.
Right.
And Giant Gonzalez had another appearance in the oddball group, the Oddities, in the 1999-2000 kind of time.
Okay.
He was in an oddball stable with Golga, who was Earthquake. Kurgan of Sherlock Holmes fame. He was in the Sherlock Holmes movies. You know the big French guy in the fight that they have? Robert Downey Jr. zaps him with that cattle prod.
Oh, yeah.
That's Kurgan.
That's Kurgan. Oh, okay.
And Luna Vachon.
Oh, okay. I like Luna.
Stable. So he was on TV in 2001 sort of time.
Yeah.
And they talk about Giant Gonzalez and, like, you know, he's Tom Pettingale saying, oh, he's tall, isn't he?
Oh, he's a big un.
That's basically what happens. It's such a nothing segment.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, them big guys, well, they are big.
Yep, they're big. They're bigger than me. That's because they don't call you Giant Todd Pettingale. They just call you Todd Pettingale.
You're a little man, Tom.
And now we get...
Also, before we get into this, can I just say that Vince McMahon doesn't look right in a suit? Like, they never look like they're fit properly.
Yeah, I think...
Which I get because he's, like, such a big, like, buff guy that they just sort of, like, puff out at the chest a little bit more. But it looks like he's, like, found his dad's jacket or something, you know?
I think the problem is, if he was wearing a suit, that's fine. But he's wearing, like, sort of... Like, almost,
like a full tuxedo.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically top hat and tails without the top hat.
Yeah.
It's like the Greatest Showman. That's what he's dressed like. He's like a big red bow tie. And...
He looks more Doink the Clown than Doink the Clown.
And then we move on to... I actually find this quite touching, quite emotional.
Yeah, jokes aside now.
Yeah, so Howard Finkel leads tributes for Andre the Giant, who died sometime between the last filming of Raw and this week's filming of Raw.
Yeah.
It's quite moving. It is quite moving. We end up with like a little package of just still images of Andre the Giant to silence, and Howard Finkel leads everyone in standing up. And I was saying to you, when it cut to the crowd, there was people that were looking...
There were people who were,
emotional.
shedding some tears.
There was a couple of guys that I spotted, and there were young guys who were 30 or 40.
Yeah.
Like, one of them was, you know, crying. Another one looked very sort of somber and sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously...
A younger guy crying as well.
Andre the Giant had a career outside of wrestling as well. I mean, The Princess Bride is a film that I love.
Yeah, and it had showed a shot of that, because on the images sort of showing you all about him. And it was like a silent bit, and they're leading these tributes, and you just basically just seeing still images of Andre the Giant in the wrestling ring, or meeting famous people, or in the movie The Princess Bride, as you said. It's kind of like, you know, when a soldier or a policeman dies in a film, there's like a 21 gun salute.
Yeah.
They try and do that with the ring bell. So
yes, but it sounds kind of like funeral bells, is the other way I can put it. Like, you just hear like the dong, dong.
I think genuinely it's a really good idea. I think it's a really nice idea of being a personalised way of showing tribute. And I kind of imagine they did used to do that back in the day. Like, maybe not on TV, but they used to maybe have, like, sort of ring him out for the last time, you know, like...
Yeah.
You know, so I think genuinely that was a quite really, really nicely presented segment.
Yeah, it was nice to see on an early episode of Raw. I mean, obviously, not nice to see a death.
No, but it's nice to see them kind of sort of approach it with dignity, with respect, with love, and with care. And with the fans getting the chance to sort of see them approaching it with dignity, respect, love, and care. And it did feel like a genuine thing. Like, they could have just ignored it or put it at the end, or just
have like a fade to black of a picture of Andre the Giant come up and say, in honour of Andre the Giant, 1946, etc.
Yeah, they decided to take time out of their day to genuinely sort of dedicate a section of the show to him. And even to this day, they have something called the Andre the Giant Battle Royale.
Yes,
Memorial Battle Royale that takes place every WrestleMania, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that happens every year now to this day, which I think is brilliant. It's marred slightly by the fact that the screen goes black, obviously presumably where there's an advert, and you get a lovely headshot, and it says like 1946 and 1993.
Yeah.
And we're feeling quite emotional, so it's all good and everything. Goes to black for an advert, comes back, there's a woman walking around the ring, and I swear, if she's any more scantily clad, her flaps would be hanging out.
Bye.
I'm certain I saw a glimpse of arsehole when she was I'm sorry to say it after that lovely bit we had, but I'm genuinely...
But they clearly had like some small care, because like they have a little bit of a talk amongst them in the commentary about what's just transpired and what's going to happen soon, and then they cut to like the WWF ads. They don't want to go, right, that's the memorial out of the way, let's sell some fucking toys.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we need to show a scantily clad woman first, and then...
To ease you back into the mood of being sold to.
So there's a normal advert, but then, Nathan, there's a new advert.
Oh, yeah.
The saving grace of this entire 45 minutes of misery.
Some wrestle toys.
Is some brand new action figures that you can buy. And I think we're not going to mention the adverts too much going here on out. But if there's a new one, and it's funny, I reckon we should have a bit of a
because I mean, we get the Ico Pro, we get the Slim Jim, like we've seen them.
But... Because, I mean, the adverts came on, and I was not going to talk about them, but they came on, and I was like, oh, these ones go.
Yeah.
Then it, like, Toys. Okay.
Beautiful
Brilliant.
toys.
So they even have like a toy wrestling ring that you can buy. It's like, I want that shit so bad. I'm actually, like,
If anyone has like the 1991 like run of wrestling toys, please do send them to us.
because I'm going to go around all the car boot sales, and shops. I need these toys, Nathan. I love that shit. So there's a toy of British Bulldog.
Yeah.
Looking actually like the British Bulldog.
Just wrong.
There's a Macho Man toy.
Yeah.
Which I think was probably the one that you wanted the most, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The one that I wanted the most, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
Because the guy looks like an action figure anyway. Like his proportions.
He's just so comically
Do
weird.
you know what I mean? And they've got like the little finger and the fist and the other hand.
Yeah, and you can like twist their bodies so they swing round and punch,
and he has the moustache.
which is illegal. You're not allowed to close fist in wrestling.
That's why he gets it with a point.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should have gave those toys out in the crowd, so that all the people that want to pick their nose could just do it with the Sergeant Slaughter toy. And then you get one for the Hulkster.
Yeah, they call him
You
the
know him?
Hulkster rather than like Hulk Hogan for some reason.
He body slammed the Japanese wrestler Yokozuna.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about him in a second.
Yeah, so you know the Hulkster? Not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulkster.
Hulkster. The
Why is that?
Hulkster. I don't know.
I don't know, it's odd, isn't it?
Like
It did strike me as strange.
because like Hulk Hogan. I mean, I guess I don't know when he went off to do his movies. Maybe it was about this time.
I think it's a bit later.
Was
I think
it?
it's a bit later.
Okay, because I don't know, like, because he's not turned up in any of the wrestling things so far.
Dude, Hulk Hogan is not going to come and do this.
No, that's fair. I mean,
He's not going to come on after Brutus Briefcase.
Brutus the briefcase, butcher.
Brutus Beefcake is talking about getting knees in the face and his head explodes.
But Hulk Hogan was by his side in the hospital, Blake.
That's a very good point, actually. Well, that's as close as you're going to get
Yeah.
to fucking having Hulk Hogan on this show.
But no, like, I just wondered whether or not, like...
Damien Demento.
I just wondered whether, like, Hulk Hogan, the name and the brand was perhaps outside of WWF at this point. Like, he'd gotten famous elsewhere as well, and, like, he owned his own name now.
Well, we'll have a little look and we'll do a recap next week, so if you can answer that question. If we remember.
No, we won't.
We won't remember. I know for a fact you can't have Hulk on
Right.
its own,
Yeah.
because Hulk obviously belongs to Marvel. So
Maybe that's it. Maybe they just couldn't call him Hulk Hogan because there's some sort of thing about selling toys with the name Hulk in it.
You couldn't just have a toy called Hulk, but I'm sure you could have one called Hulk Hogan. Sure, but
A mystery.
Yeah.
Please send in your answers on a postcard.
greatest unsolved mysteries.
Yes.
So the nice toy advert ends.
Yeah.
I'm cheered up. I feel better.
And-
It's my birthday in 4 days after this broadcast, by the way. I get born 4 days after this.
We cut back to is it the same lovely lady who's holding up a Raw
I
sign?
believe so, yes. Her nipples are hanging out.
Yeah, and this is where we find out, and we're not certain whether this is accurate, but Raw apparently stands for really awesome wrestling. I never knew
Now,
this.
so I am of the opinion it doesn't, because when you look at the title crawl, it doesn't have a dot after the R, the A, and the W.
No.
Like, implying it's an acronym?
An acronym.
An acronym.
Yeah.
Saying an acronym is really hard.
It is.
But yeah, it's implying it's not an acronym. So I don't understand. I think it's just sort of like they're just trying to get the branding. Speaking of branding, what they've been banging on about all afternoon, Nathan, it's back again.
Oh.
Bobby Heenan didn't know the third
Yeah.
part of it.
It's Monday Night Raw, which is uncut,
Uncooked.
uncensored. We could have got that in the wrong order, but we
Yeah,
got all the
fuck
words in.
Fuck him.
Yeah, they got it right this time.
Yeah, because no Bobby Heenan.
You know, Bobby Heenan's...
Well, he might be on the show actually later on. I'm not convinced. We'll talk about that in a minute. So now the next match is a match-heavy card, but none of the wrestling's good. Like you may have noticed, my
Yeah.
recording of the action doesn't seem as passionate or as lengthy.
Yeah,
as
no,
it
we've
was last
talked
week.
more about like the interviews than we have than the actual wrestling.
Because the thing is, like last week we were complimenting them having just a wrestling-based show. I don't think it works the other way around. I don't think we can compliment them on having just an interview-based show.
No.
I don't think it works like that. They need to, if they're going to have more interviews, they need to balance it half and half. But you can, for some reason, get away with having one that is just all wrestling. So we'll see kind of how it progresses over the next couple of weeks and how the kind of format calms down.
Yeah, I mean, this is still, the 4th episode of Raw they've
Yes,
done, so maybe
yes.
they are still trying to figure out the
Play
format
with
so they can
the
do... Because they've
experiment.
done some interviews, as we know, they've done phone interviews,
Yeah.
which we'll get to talk about in this match.
So we have Yokozuna versus Bobby DeVito.
Yes, and before the match even starts, they tease, we're going to have a phone interview with Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
And then promptly say, never mind, when the phone doesn't work.
Yeah, because they just hear like a dart, it's like, whoops, never mind.
So we were like, because I was thinking, that's really funny if that's a deliberate bit. Like,
Yeah.
oh, just give me a dial tone when I say this on the show, and then we'll make out that we're supposed to be going and he's not.
Because was it the last episode they did the phone interviews, or was it the week before that?
I think it might. No, it was the week before.
It was the week, yeah, because Bobby Heenan was called up as well, so it was the second
before,
episode.
Yeah, before Rumble, because they were talking about Shawn Michaels about Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, and they were talking. Obviously, like they had phone issues on that one as well. So maybe they were like, "Hey, we'll bring it back for this one, and we'll do a little joke about them not picking up."
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Although I think maybe someone on the production desk had like a prophetic flash forward of what was going to be said,
Yeah.
and tried to sabotage the phone call before it began.
Do we want to talk about the phone interview before we get into the actual match
I was
itself?
going to pepper it in the middle.
Okay. In that case, if you want to start the match, I can jump in with the phone interview every now and again.
Brilliant. And just be as distracting as it was on the actual show as well. It's like literally cutting because it was very distracting on the show. So Yokozuna versus Bobby DeVito. I've never seen Bobby DeVito before. I've not seen him since. I don't know who this guy is. A lot of jobbers on the card tonight. Yokozuna comes out. They keep putting over. He's 505 pounds. He won the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he did.
He eliminated Macho Man Randy Savage. They were the last two men in.
Yeah.
They're putting this guy over strong.
Yeah, Macho Man is in the commentary team as well, and he is not like trying to like sell him as, oh, he's a cheat, he's a fraud. He's saying, no, this man is scary. This guy is good.
Like, he beat Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
You know? So it's good. It's really, really good. We instantly start off. Bobby DeVito runs towards Yokozuna and gets super kicked for his troubles. And I mean super kicked. Like, it's like a cannon blast goes off in the arena, and he just crumples like a cheap suit. He got super kicked fucking hard. Then he gets picked up and slammed after that.
Yeah.
And that looked painful.
And before we get into the phone interview with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I did want to say that Rob Bartlett started complaining after following the advert we had earlier about the toys. He starts complaining that he himself doesn't have a toy, and Vince McMahon and Macho Man just completely ignore him. It's like, no, you're not getting a fucking toy, Rob.
We got you a present, Rob. Is it a toy? No, it's a P45. Fuck off! So Yokozuna leg drops him, and it's brutal. Like, he chops him, like he throws him into the corner, he runs into him. Like, I'm looking over my notes now. Yokozuna, like the other guy, Bobby DeVito, doesn't get a single, because that's how I don't remember his name, didn't get a single offensive maneuver.
No, he didn't.
Maneuver whatsoever. He didn't get out of the way of anything. Yeah, he gets put into the corner after a big smash, and there's a bonsai drop, and I noticed this time, he actually says bonsai like Rikishi does.
Yes, he does.
Pins him, Yokozuna wins.
But, like, the match it's a little bit hard to follow because you've got Hacksaw Jim Duggan on the line, and I didn't actually write down what he said because all I know is that it was incredibly racist.
Because it starts off, they're like, can you hear us? Can you hear us? A few seconds of silence. Yes, I can hear you. And then it goes dead for like a second or two. It goes quiet, but you can still hear him talking. We can't hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
Then it comes up and it's like Japanese flag.
Well, no, he said before that. He says something about something with I'm not going to lose to a Jap or something like that, and it's like. And then all of a sudden his audio gets quite quiet. Like, you can hardly understand what he's saying.
He's calling him like Yakazaki.
Yeah, he says what was it? Yeah, Yakazuma as well. And to the point where Vince McMahon says, no, it's Yokozuna.
He's like, so I'm going to knock Yakel off his feet next week.
No, that was it. Like, after, like, he gets corrected calling him Yakazuma, he says, oh, it's one of them Jap names or something like that. And it's... Is it me that you... Like, I'm quoting him, I always say, and it is awful. Like, we were standing aghast at what...
It goes quiet.
Yeah, it goes quiet for a while.
And then it comes up.
You just hear Japanese flag.
Down, up, loads of rice. Not really, but down, up.
So, like, all we can imagine is that someone in, like, the production booth, like, just spout their cigarettes, like, quick, turn him down. Like, is he alright? Is he alright? Did you hear Japanese flag? No, turn him down.
Like, I can imagine after, like, he's still on the line, but they've cut it going out to the speakers, and in the production office, they're sat there, like, just gobsmacked as he starts going on a very racist diatribe, including accents.
Yeah. And Vince McMahon's sort of like, well, I can tell you're getting fired up, and you were like, that secret message was saying you're getting fired after this, Jim.
It was like, there's something about, it was awful. This show's been rather emotional.
It's been up and down, hasn't it?
Yeah. This is the weirdest 45 minutes of television I've ever watched. We go on now to introduce some new characters to the show. Vince McMahon, another interview segment.
Are they new?
To the show, yeah.
Okay, to Raw, yeah,
they're
okay,
not
yeah,
Raw
fair
yet.
enough.
So
they're not new to the WWF, but they are new to Raw.
So if you're just following along, like if you don't know much about the period, obviously they're new characters to what we do. And so he's interviewing 2 new characters called Erwin R. Shyster and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, baby. And he comes out, they're like baddies from 18, and it's great. I love them. Like they're wearing suits with like big gold dollar signs on the front. The IRS guy, it's a funny joke.
Yeah, it's a funny joke.
He's wearing like a typical nerd outfit. He looks like
Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, but look, it's weird because he looks like the final villain from like fucking Final Fight or something. Like you see like an old man with little sort of glasses. You're like, I used to be a walk.
Then he rips up his shirt and he's ripped.
And he's massive. It looks like that. Like it's sexy but scary. You know?
It's like, what's his name? Terry Hagar or something.
Yeah, Hagar from yeah. I mean, I like the IRS guy, but I won't want to be caught in a lift with him.
No.
Especially when he's got a chainsaw or a nail gun. Played around with the braids for a while.
Don't ask him what he thinks about Hootie and the Blowfish.
So Ted DiBiase does some nursery rhymes.
Yeah, he just sings Humpty Dumpty for no reason.
And I'm not quite sure why.
They're here to talk shit about Brutus Beefcake.
Yeah.
Is the point.
Yeah. I didn't really like this, to be honest.
No, it was pretty shit interview because like Vince McMahon kept like handing the mic to IRS as if he was going to say something, and he had nothing to say. So it turned back to the $1 Million Man, and then then Erwin would open his mouth to say something. It was like, oh no, the mic's gone now.
It was a shambles. What would you expect from baddies from 18, Nathan? That's how Hannibal beats them all the time.
But no, like the only time that Erwin R. Shyster gets to talk is that he says that he's mad that Brutus the Beefcake barber man, he was upset that he perhaps hasn't paid his medical bills.
Yeah,
he doesn't even have any proof of that.
I've thought of a good way you could book Brutus the Barber Beefcake from now on, where he hasn't got to wrestle, so he's not going to get injured, but he can still be on the show. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Brutus the Beefcake's barbershop quartet. That'd work.
That'd work.
So he's like a leader of like a Wyatt family style stable of mad barbers.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
I'm picturing him, Doink the Clown,
Ali Barber.
I was going to say the Hart brothers, but sure.
No, because Jimmy Hart's working with the bad guys.
Exactly.
Oh, it's like a brother versus brother thing.
Is Jimmy Hart a brother? I thought he was dad. No, he must be the brother.
Stu Hart's the dad.
Yeah, but I don't know the Hart Foundation.
There's like fucking 17 of them, don't worry about it. So Jimmy Hart, I'd never seen a picture of Jimmy Hart before. So when he came out...
We didn't know it was him, because like from the back it's just like Money Inc. or something.
Yeah, on like a snakeskin suit jacket.
Yeah.
And then cut to the front, and he looked like...
He looks like Weird Al Yankovic circa like mid-80s.
I thought he looked like Lemmy, but Lemmy wasn't well.
I mean, he's dead now, so...
Well, now then. But they challenge him to a match, old Brutus Beefcake. They say, we want to fight you in a match. You can pick either of us. We'll flip a coin. You never see, this is the thing. If Ted DiBiase, he flips the coin, it lands, you never see the result.
No, so it was planned to be Ted DiBiase.
I think probably because he's the safer of the two. He's probably doing it longer.
Maybe, yeah.
So it's going to be safer, like he's not going to get his face caved in live on television.
Like Brutus the Beefcake did.
Yeah, so it's like a bad camera angle where the image is very crowded and busy. Like there's
4 people on like a 4x3 screen.
There's a weird optical illusion where IRS's head is over Vince's face, but the bodies line up, so it looks like Vince McMahon's body with IRS's head. It was bizarre. My eyes didn't like it very much. We've recently moved the television in podcast HQ a bit further away than normal, so I think that's what's buggering my eyes up.
We didn't we've never like introduced ourselves, have we? I think maybe in the first episode. That's Blake, by the way. I'm Nathan.
We'll just cut into the beginning. It's fine.
What?
We'll just do a bit at the beginning. It's fine.
Oh, more work for me. Good to know.
Don't worry about it. So the interview section ends. It's kind of a bit pants. I don't like it very much.
No. I mean, not compared to... Like, that's the thing. At least it was short. It wasn't short, but it was shorter.
Like, it did... But this tended to be a bit rambly as well. And it's nice to see that problem's endemic from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, on 3-hour Raws, I can understand why promos ramble. 45 minutes, you want to keep it tight.
Well, you've got, like, what was it, 5 matches?
With, like, probably a combined 10 minutes worth of wrestling between the 5
If you've got 5 matches, that should be the majority of the show is wrestling. But no, I think you've had, like, 30 minutes of just interviews.
Yeah. A lot of just people standing round.
Having a chin wag.
Lollygagging.
Loitering there.
Just getting on my tits.
They could have done this so much easier. Just had them both come out and said, we're representing Money Inc. We think Brutus Beefcake's full of shit. I want to fight him next week on Raw.
We think Brutus Beefcake is full of metal pins.
Yeah. And we were going to prove that by punching him very hard and showing you our bloody knuckles.
And parachute his sneeze.
And also, he didn't pay his bills, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Because I didn't know this, but you told me afterwards that basically the reason why that Erwin R. Shyster guy is on the show is like a rib.
Yeah, from what I understand, like, Vince McMahon did all he could to avoid, like, paying his full taxes. He got hit with a heavy bill and then said, fuck you, IRS, I'm ripping on you of a character.
And if this is the best he can do, it's no wonder the IRS are winning.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, I don't think he pays that much tax anymore. He's good friends with the man in charge, you know.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, battle of the... No, they hate each other, Nathan. They had a hair versus hair match, and Donald Trump won. Can I point out? What are you trying to tell me? They're all mates backstage. So it was a blood.
I'm assuming you've heard the story about that time where Vince McMahon got blown up in the limousine, and then Trump immediately called the studio to ask if Vince was okay.
Genuinely.
I
didn't know that.
That happened.
Oh fuck me.
Fucking hell.
Lex Luger comes out.
Shall we move on?
Lex Luger comes out.
Lex Luger comes out.
There's a mirror in the ring. And I'm starting
Lex Luger is a builder's like narcissist.
Yeah, the narcissist. Or narcissist. I'm starting to think maybe they've got scantily clad women at the beginning to make this bit even funnier.
Because I think this is just a joke that Vince McMahon likes, isn't it? Just having, like, women who are proud of their bodies who maybe aren't as conventionally attractive as other women.
Because I was convinced for a minute it might have been Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
It's going to be revealed.
But no, there's an older, large lady, like, comes into the ring wearing a similar attire, like full one-piece swimsuit.
Yeah, one piece, yeah.
Like, with the Raw sign, and she's just pottering about in, like, thick glasses, like...
Yeah, they've made her face up to look ugly. They've kind of overdone the blush and the lipstick. And
yeah, which, I mean, she's a lovely enough lady. Like, she looks like she could just be somebody's aunt.
Yeah. Maybe Rob Bartlett's aunt.
Maybe
Rob Bartlett saw Bobby Heenan ripping her off and was like, that son of a bitch.
That looks nothing like her.
Yeah, I want to get on the show to show everyone what I look like. And Vince is like, oh, look at that ugly woman. Let's get her in the ring.
At the same time, she probably had the time of her life.
Probably. I mean, it does offend Lex Luger. And then when it goes to the advert and comes back, she's gone.
So, do you reckon he killed her?
I reckon he's killed her. So it goes,
but there is a break, which we want to talk about.
This is great. Favourite moment of the show is either... I don't know. It's probably this bit.
Well, let's not spoil.
Oh, yeah, no, go on.
Let's not spoil our favourites just yet. Am I taking this?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, because I didn't actually write down names.
I've got it.
But like,
I've got it.
It's Mr. Perfect. He's with a footballer who is from the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, so
and we can't remember his name exactly. I think it was Stephen Knight.
I thought it was Steven Jackson.
It's one of those two.
It could be like Reginald.
Granted, no, it's definitely Stephen because he refers to him as Stephen.
You're right.
But obviously we didn't bother checking this afterwards. But yeah, it's just him and a footballer, Mr. Perfect and some footballer named Stephen. Mr. Perfect apparently loves a good tight end.
Yeah, because I wrote down a football thing happens. Mr. Perfect throws the old pigskin to a Viking to classical music.
Yeah, because Stephen, whatever his name is sort of saying like, oh, he's seen some good players. He knows like people who are good throwers and everything, but no one does a perfect throw like Mr. Perfect.
And you should know, Stephen being the best tight end in Minnesota.
Yeah. I want that on my grave. The best tight end in Minnesota.
Or so I read in that public urinal I was in.
But yeah, then some football happens. Like they just toss the old pigskin like father and son do.
It's great. And Mr. Perfect manages to throw and catch the same pass through, I don't know if you know his name, very clever video editing.
No, it's real.
It's real.
It's real.
Do you think Donald Trump called him like, good God, how did he do that?
but yeah, no, Mr. Perfect just like tosses the football in the air and runs out of frame. And Stephen Knight, Jackson, King, whatever his name is, just sort of looks up at the sky.
Bored.
Just mouth agape, no emotion behind them glassy eyes.
And it's like that bit in Monty Python where like it cuts to Mr. Perfect running, then cuts back and the ball's in the same bit.
Yeah.
Going over the same bit of skate ceiling.
And it just keeps cutting back between these three shots of the ball in the air, Mr. Perfect running, and Steven just looking mouth agape like he's seen like the bombers come over the horizon.
And it's like how Londoners would like look at the Luftwaffe.
Yeah.
Sort of like,
oh God.
here they come. And I thought this was brilliant.
It was so fucking funny.
It was really funny. And obviously they're playing up now. It's going to be Mr. Perfect versus Lex Luger.
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's where we're going. That's where we're going with all this.
Because, yeah, Narcissus doesn't have... Like, he's beyond perfect, is the point.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why he was brought in on the Rumble by Bobby Heenan to sort of take out Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect's taken scouts of his own. He beat Ric Flair. Also, can we add one to the Ric Flair counter? He wasn't here this week.
Yeah, he wasn't.
So... they've managed to keep their promise for 7 days.
So far, that's a good run.
We're doing well.
And Vince McMahon says that coming up next on the channel is Quantum Leak.
Now, you heard it's leak.
I heard Quantum Leak.
I did hear Quantum Leak. I've got to be honest.
We'll review the footage.
Yeah.
Sorry, you review the footage for us, but I swear he says Quantum Leak.
So, I was saying to Nathan, this is a really bizarre thing, because obviously it's on the network we're watching this on, but even then, when you really think about what's happening, it's bizarre. In the middle of his own show, he just starts, like, pimping what's on the channel next after his own show. He's like, stick around after Raw. Tonight, Quantum Leap, starring Scott Bakula. And I was like to Nathan...
maybe it's just like a thing, like a means to get the audience to stick around for the like the credits or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. But I said to Nathan, you couldn't imagine, like, sort of like, during, like, the Olympics or the Paralympics, some fella commentating on wheelchair tennis, and he goes, stick around after this, Fast and the Furious 3's on. Like, you just
I hear Vin Diesel drives a car really fast this time.
It just wouldn't happen. It just is really bizarre. That's what always stuck out to us. But our next match is Lex Luger versus Jason Knight.
Yeah, I've never heard of Jason Knight, and I doubt I'll ever hear of him again.
He is overpowered, literally from...
Immediately. Like, bell rings, bam, he's dead immediately.
Lex Luger basically is getting the same level of treatment as Yokozuna. This Jason Knight guy doesn't get a single piece of offense on him.
No.
He overpowers him. He gives him a really, really, really beautiful, nice snap arm drag. There's like an arm drag where like you go along with it as the giver, and the taker sort of just rolls through. This is like a snap. Like he gets him, bang! Like it's so quick and snappy and perfect.
Yeah, Lex Luger works good.
There's some chain wrestling, there's some corner offense. They trade momentum. Like Lex Luger goes into the corner and there's a scary clothesline.
Yeah, it snaps.
It looks like he comes at him like a gunshot. Like he's like led forward, like he's like a sprinter, like he's going as fast as humanly possible. He explodes out of the corner. And it's like, it's not even like he's trying to give a wrestling move, it's like he's trying to run through him.
Yeah.
Like that man from The Boys.
Like the way it looked like it looked like his elbow just clattered his jaw and like Knight just drops.
Bradshaw, because JBL, close up from hell, ain't got nothing on this shit. He brings him up to his feet.
Yep.
Puts him back down again. He drops him
no, never mind, he's dead.
Jesus. Lex Luger bounces Jason Knight off the ropes and just slams him.
Yeah.
Picks him up, bounces him off the ropes. He comes off the other side of the ropes, runs to meet him, clothesline, and then this is my favourite bit. He pins him with one single pinky finger. Not only
Which
that,
is such an arsehole move,
he
isn't
kind
it?
of pauses for a second or two. Like he's doing lots of posing and hot dogging and sort of like, look at me, I'm wonderful. But he sort of pauses for a second or two, looks left, looks right, sort of like waves his hand to the referees. He's like, come here. Kneels down, pinky on Jason Knight's chest. I think Jason Knight is legitimately dead. Like he hasn't moved. And he wins.
Yeah, there was a bit as well, like, because part of, like, obviously the Narcissus persona that he puts across is that he loves looking at himself.
Yeah.
So he looks down occasionally, looks at his skin, looks at his muscles. He has a great body, I've got to say.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. He really looks the part.
And there's a bit like, Rob Bartlett just says, take a picture, it'll last longer. I'm just thinking, Rob, it's being filmed. He's got, like, thousands of pictures being taken of him every minute. He's all right.
That's how film works, mate. And then he says, I think I've got some of his trucks at home. And you got the one joke this week, Rob, eh? And then he, Lex Luger, not Rob Bartlett, he picks up Jason Knight and giant swings him, which is fun. I like that, like a nice little post-match beatdown. I like that. And then that's it. We start pimping next week.
Well, no, there's no show next week.
Oh, no, you're right.
Because the dogs are on.
Yeah. So this is great. So not only are they pumping pimping out Quantum Leap for on after Raw, next week they're getting bumped.
Yeah.
So me and Nathan are on a holiday. We get a week.
No, we're not.
Are we doing the week after?
We just go straight into it.
Fine.
No, because think about it, because then we get to like save like 1 week in like 27 years worth of content.
That's true, actually. Yeah. I mean, a few more of these dog shows, and we'll be done. No time.
Get a call into the network. Tell them to cancel Raw and put on dog shows forever.
And I'm not sure what the dog show even is.
No, but the thing is, like, even Vince McMahon thinks it's hilarious. It's like there's some dog show on next week. I don't know.
Tune in, you might see some dogs. Is it like Crufts or is it like?
No, all I know is that I want to see Macho Man drop kick a fucking Chihuahua.
Because like it's brilliant. It goes to it, and like I was like, okay, we're gonna get some matches for next week. So there's like Ted DiBiase and Brutus Beefcake has been agreed and signed for next week.
Yes.
And they announced it won't be next week; it'll be the week after because the dog show's on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I said, I reckon we should review the dog show.
That would be fun.
Do you want to do Quantum Leap as well after this? Start there.
Just upload it immediately after this video. We need to find out what episode ahead.
Oh,
That's too much work.
get the TV guys in 1993. So Nathan, what did you like? What didn't you like on this week's episode of Raw?
I can't even tell you, Blake. Like, I genuinely think that this is one of my favourite episodes so far.
I hate this one.
Just because it was such a bizarre sideshow of like misery and hilarity. I mean, my favourite bit, like, has to be the Mr. Perfect football scene.
Yeah.
But like, if I have to pick a match, I'm probably going to say like Tatanka.
Yeah?
Like, just because like it wasn't too short, but it was still brief. But like that match was still filled with good action. Like, I do prefer the combat. Yeah, I can call it combat.
Not legally.
Not legally.
If you were on the commentary, you didn't say that.
The match between High Energy and the unnamed other tag team. Like, because they were better wrestlers. Like, they put on a damn good show, but it, like I say, it was a minute and a half.
So
Like,
brief.
like, there wasn't even enough time to enjoy it.
Like, you didn't have time to settle in.
No.
Like, you barely got sat down, and then it was over.
The Yokozuna match was okay.
Yeah.
That was all right. When it comes to least favourite, I mean, yeah, the Erwin R. Shyster and $1 Million Man interview, that dragged on. Doink the Clown versus Typhoon is one of the worst matches I've ever seen.
Oh, then you've got some horrible treats coming to you.
Fucking brilliant. But yeah, Blake, what was your favourite? What was your least favourite?
Okay, general sort of thoughts on the show. I don't think having an interview-heavy show of Raw in this incarnation works.
No, it didn't feel like it worked.
I feel like, even though it was 45 minutes, it started off and I was struggling to make notes because it was happening all so fast. And then it was just long parts of just me sitting, looking at the screen, waiting for something to happen in the kind of middle section.
Yeah.
There's a 10-minute interview with Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Which, yeah, he has a long story to tell, but again, maybe not
Snip,
in
snip, guys.
Raw, yeah.
Snip, snip. So that's stuff I didn't like. I mean, Bartlett is becoming less and less of a factor as more issues come up.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, I'm starting to prefer Bartlett now that there's so much of a shit, like Hacksaw or the Jim Duggan being racist.
I was going to say, I can't believe that you're offended more by a bad match than you are with a man hating the entire country of Japan.
I tried to put that out of my mind. I only just remembered that happened.
So my favourite parts, Mr. Perfect, football in the groin, obviously. It's got to be in it.
Football in the groin.
It's got to be in it. All that lad picking his nose while Brutus the Barber Beefcake was talking about his dead cancer-ridden mum. That was bad, wasn't it?
Oh, Jesus.
Least favourite parts. Oh, I get what you mean. Like, obviously, my favourite match, I think, is going to have to be the Tatanka one for the exact same reasons.
Yeah.
And it's the first time we've agreed. I mean, I genuinely, honestly prefer the High Energy one. But, like you say, it's just too brief to have an opinion.
Yeah.
On whether it was good or bad. Least favourite parts, Doink and Typhoon. And then, yeah, like the sort of the interviews. And I just think they kind of talk heavy. I think mine would be the Giant Gonzalez, Todd Pettengill bit. Because that was such a nothing segment.
Yeah, I mean, at least it was fairly brief. Like, it couldn't have gone on for more than a minute or two.
But at least with, like, sort of the Ted DiBiase bit, you're getting a progressing storyline.
I suppose.
What do you get out of the Giant Gonzalez chat? Nothing.
No. Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Completely vacuous television. So better or worse than last week?
Oh, better.
I can't believe you're saying that.
No, I don't know if I can genuinely say that. Like,
I think if
it was entertaining in a different way.
Yeah,
in a car crash kind of way.
I think if it was an episode
In a
where,
parasailer's feet to the face kind of way.
I think it was an episode where it was all sad, serious shit.
Yeah.
Then it would be better than last week. It was an episode of all comedy. It would be better than last week. But that weird mishmash really just sits funny with my palate, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember because like last week it was the Ric Flair match.
Oh, showcase.
Yeah, which yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I blew a kiss to you there, but when will the sexual tension end? Yeah, no, that match was incredible. Okay, yeah, no, definitely last week was better in terms of this is a good wrestling show. In terms of what the fuck did I just watch?
It's a good TV show.
Yeah.
Compelling, gripping viewing.
But like, I don't know, like there's something weirdly wrong about this episode that I just love.
Yeah, it did feel kind of like we were watching porn or something. Like
Except less embarrassing if your dad walks in.
Maybe that's what we were doing. Maybe we got like you know last time when I got the wrong episode. Maybe I've just done that again. Okay, looking forward to next week.
I don't know. There was no like, oh, there's Doink versus X this week.
It was this Ted DiBiase versus Brutus Beef.
Oh, okay. Was that? Yeah, that was. That was for this one. Yeah, but
No, not next week. The week after because it got bumped by the dog show.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the dogs next week, Blake.
So I'm expecting a higher caliber. They had 2 weeks to prepare. Unless Vince is running the dog show. And he's busy doing that for the week.
Come on, you son of a bitch!
And he's getting all these dogs. So...
When will Macho Man present Crafts?
Ooh, that little shit's one. What do you think's in the Slim Jims? The dogs that don't win the dog show?
That was the thing as well. Like after the Slim Jim commercial, Rob Bartlett came in. Oh yeah, Slim Jims. If you don't care what part of the cow the meat comes from,
We haven't got the time.
just immediately coming in with slander against the thing you're advertising.
That's how it works. You're allowed to do that.
If we never see a Slim Jim commercial again, we know it's Rob Bartlett's fault.
Who pulled the sponsorship? Why don't you just go sponsor fucking potato chips or something, you bastard?
Chips.
So that was Going in Raw, episode 4.
Oh, Blake.
I'm sorry, everyone.
I feel like I've just had really disappointing sex.
It felt like a lot of build up for not a lot of payoff, didn't it? On my pee-pee things. Well, we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Well, next week for you guys.
Yeah.
In terms of the timeline of the show, next week, 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
For the next episode of Raw.
For what would be February 15th, I guess.
Yeah, because the next one will be the 8th, wouldn't it? So next one's so February the 15th, 1993. At that point, I would be 10 days old.
Good. Yeah, that's old enough to watch and appreciate wrestling.
Yeah, and now you because you were born in November, weren't you? 92.
Yes.
So yeah, you'd be a few months older.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always the case. I'm always a few months older than you. What?